third time is the charm. Tadaima. Today I've already called um, Alexandra at Kaiser to address a few things. I'll get to that. But here's my tailwind project. This is my Sea of Not, or Not Sea project, and that is not what I'm working on today. This is my Growing Dinkiness project, which I'm putting my notes in. So right down here are the notes that I contacted Kaiser about this morning. I wanted to talk to her. I want to make an appointment to discuss my brain injury, and I want to discuss the Lupron catastrophic reaction I had, and I want to discuss who they have reported that I was a victim of a violent crime to, so that I can follow up appropriately, because it happened and I need to be able to talk about it. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but the threats, the 8.5 years of threats, are too many. It's too long. All right, so here's my. You can. The reason I pull things down like this is because this is where I can see. I can only really see from like here to over here on my screen at any one time. So that's just how it is. So here's my world. I am here in this little dot. I was born over here in that little dot, and I spent my year high school here with this little dot. And I have been working on honestly trying to feel confident enough that I can be a useful human being. As much as they talk about people on Medicaid needing to work, blah, 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 I worked really hard not to be on Medicaid. The only reason I'm on Medicaid is because my brother committed a crime and I am now on Medicaid. I think my kids are on Medicaid. My mother, I think, is on Medicaid, although maybe she's on Medicare. I don't really quite know. I always thought it took more effort to live off of the government than it did to just earn an income. But that being said, I had never testified against the government before, and I've never experienced malpractice before, and this is the world that I'm in, and I'm not trying to. My heart is in the right place. I'm not trying to retaliate against anybody. I'm trying to learn how to appropriately talk about the stuff that I really did experience. Okay, so I have taken my notes here. I can take a Unicode, I put it into PowerPoint, make it really big, 24 inch by 24 inch square, and then I take that PNG into Krita, and I separate all the colors into different layers and delete the background. And from there I take that transparent PNG into Inkscape, and in Inkscape I can trace the bitmap, and so it gives me an SVG, and so like this one little color on the cow is separate from this color on the cow, is separate than the eye, so each of these little bits of color has its own line of, it has its own path, and then together they build the SVG, and then I'm not using them as SVGs, I'm using them as components in Tailwind. I think I'm talking about it correctly, but I have to be willing to look stupid in order to find out if I'm explaining things correctly. Alright, so this is my growing dinkiness mindset it took a long time to kind of evolve that in, into habits, and I'm looking for my self-confidence, which is um, not as colorful as the rest of it. I have lots of notes in color, but it all starts with black and white, right? Um, but I'm pretty happy. I'm making my turtle, my boat, and my cow the colors that are unique, and I can make them whatever colors I want. Um, I have my links. I've got my perfection video here. Open in a new window. I love this video. It has just kids. Oops. Um, it's a couple that didn't know each other, but they're going through this life's um, roller coaster, and I feel like I have found a partner who compliments me, and I hope that we have enough future ahead of us to have some good fun together now that I'm no longer having to hide from my brother and MAGA. So I have 2 places where I've been posting videos. This account, I'm posting stuff that triggers me. So I've got some reaction videos to reaction videos. So somebody else's video that I'm reacting to. Whereas this account, I'm hoping to keep kind of professional and work with Melanith, who is my partner. That's his online name. He's got a bunch of stuff on GitHub, and we are trying to figure out how to appropriately talk to about each other in this public space in a world that was much scarier now than it was just a few years ago. So when I gave birth to my kids, I had avoided color as any kind of a study because it was a girl thing, and I didn't want to know what periwinkle blue is, or whatever. And having never studied color before, now when I was estranged from my kids, I've been studying color. I have been studying the hexes. I've studied the HSL and trying to orient myself so that I have a good idea when I change the numbers as to what it will look like when I hit go. Also, my first diabetic son was dyslexic, and it made more sense to create a path with color than just ABC or 1, 2, 3, because in 2nd grade and dyslexic, 1, 2, 3 and ABC didn't have that encoded into his head as where we start. So like if he we created his diabetes habits around starting with yellow. I yell ow. And we talked about how you can do that when you're at home if you warn me, but you can't do it like at a restaurant. You can't actually yell out at a restaurant or something like that. But diabetes just sucks, and sometimes you have to recognize that it sucks. And if yelling ow hurt, you make sure that people aren't going to be startled enough, or you don't do it in the car while somebody's driving, that kind of thing. But it sometimes, sometimes things are painful, and it doesn't do our body any good to lie about that pain. We just learn how to manage it the best way we can. So I left a message for my social worker at Kaiser, Alexandra, I love the name, and I explained that I wanted to talk to somebody about my brain injuries. And I wrote my notes here. I guess I can blow them up a bit more. Where are my brain injuries? I fell off of a bus on the way home from the dentist because of the vertigo, and I hit my head on the ground. That was one. I fell in jail. I was in jail for civil disobedience under Trump's first term, and uh, that caused me a brain injury. I couldn't hold my own urine for a few weeks, and I did see the doctor after I kind of recovered from that. And then hypoxia is another brain injury. Um, I kind of include, well, I guess I wrote down number 4, pain monopoly. When, when in pain, pain monopolizes your focus. You don't have, I don't have room for other things to think about when I'm in pain. The only thing I can think about is the fact that I'm in pain. It's hard. That's why I asked for help when um, I had I was managing my son's diabetes, and they had me on morphine, and nobody thought that was a bad idea, except for me. Anyways, I also told her I want to could talk to somebody about the catastrophic reaction I had to Lupron. That's not because I'm trying to get anybody in trouble, but it's nonsensical to me that I should be expected to live in a world where reality didn't happen. It's already been adjudicated in Social Security court. I had a catastrophic reaction to Lupron. I had the shot in South Salem, and I was headed up to Hillsborough, and around the time I hit Wilsonville, I was beginning to have pain, and by the time I got to Hillsborough, I was in so much pain that it ruined our evening's plans. I remember just kind of cowering in a corner, trying not to cry. Um, I cry a lot now. Nowadays, I've gotten better at it. I actually think that it's a good. What I've come to realize is that crying releases those endorphins and whatever, the chemicals we need to feel better. So I don't avoid crying like I used to. And then I also have to acknowledge that um, I didn't know when I started talking about what happened to me. The violence that I was dealing with was MAGA violence. And um, I have to acknowledge that I have experienced trauma enough that it changed who I am. It changed how I react to things. I mean, even the fact that I'm more willing to cry now is because I've had to cry a lot. And you can, from what I have seen and felt and experienced, um, and I truly believe you can, cry, or you can die from a broken heart. So it's not a place where you that I feel safe staying, but I do feel good knowing that if I cry, that gives my body a flood of hormones that makes it feel a little bit better. So crying has a purpose, and I've cried enough in the last 8.5 years to be able to identify that sometimes sometimes my body needs me to cry so that it triggers those chemical changes. All right, so I haven't ever renewed my Medicaid. Um, I, I, I think I'm on Medicaid. I'm not even sure of that. I don't know much about the Social Security. I believe it's disability. Um, and I need to better understand what I'm on. And I need to better understand what is required of me to keep it, because while I try to develop some marketable skills, I'm certainly not there yet. I can't go and say, hey, look, I made a few pretty icons and now you can hire me. But I am trying to earn my way off of the assistance that I have, and MAGA is trying very much to take away the assistance that I have, so I have to be realistic about that. In the 90s, I didn't have any expectation that I would ever be on Medicaid, and so we created a business that I could have a few days a month where my girl trouble was debilitating, and we had staff around that we just kind of trained out who did what. Um, I have I need to get to know my bills. Those have been taken care of for me for a long time. Um, I don't even know where they how to get a hold of. I don't know. That has not been my responsibility. I also have trouble seeing. Um, so these are not easy things for me to know. And my partner is very private, and has just been taking care of things. But I need to be able to. We need to have a safety net for each other. If something happens to me or if something happens to him, it shouldn't end the world for the surviving person. I think that I think it's great that Oregon has medical assistance in dying, but I think that we need to get a lot better at our medical assistance in living. It feels very much like it feels very much like we've got a better program to kill us than to help us live. We have criminalized um, we have criminalized disabilities here in Oregon. If you are depressed, we don't send somebody to you that's equipped to take care of somebody who's depressed. We send a cop. Um, the people who are most honest to you and treat you the nicest are the people whose job it is to collect information to put you in jail. And that's just not as useful as it sounds like it should be. Um, I have my share. So at this point, you can kind of see where I'm feeling a lot right here, um, and hopefully I'm going to be working my through to the point where I don't have to go through and feel all this. I just need to go off the highlights of, well, today I stubbed my toe, and so and then move on to the next chunk, and then move on to the next chunk, and get to the point where I'm able to interact with other people in an appropriate way, that we can build each other up instead of tearing people down. Um, my goal in talking about what happened to me is not that I'm trying to get anybody in trouble. My goal in talking about what happened to me is creating a system, a safety net for me, a safety net for my kids, a safety net that my future granddaughters don't have to experience the sexism and misogyny that I've had to experience. And I heard somebody young calling in, some other young talk show guy, and just yesterday talking about how women shouldn't be the president because we're too emotional. And that's it's sad to me that we are still teaching people that. All right, so here here's so I've got my space to be a little bit of an artist, and my solitaire jobs, right? Because it doesn't take a lot of brain power to just follow, the directions, and create an icon that I can color like it's a coloring book. Um, I have my place for when I get triggered. I have the place for when I'm trying to act preventively, and I am trying to color my day um, useful in a useful way, um, and working so that I spend less time feeling and more time sharing. But I can only get there if I master these first two first. Now I have all these have meaning to me that I'm not including here. I'm working on some workflows to make more habits that are useful to other people, especially as I try to come up with some professional skills that could be marketable. And I like having my map I scrolled down. I don't know if you can see that it's a world map. Yeah. So see that's the tail from Alaska. Um, and there's Japan. And anyways, this is my feel good space. My Nazi project is my desensitizing space. And now I'm gonna go have some oatmeal and I'm gonna post this, and then I'm gonna go have some oatmeal and deal with shots and work on my day. Thank you for listening. I'm doing this for myself, not for you. It's not meant to be selfish. It's meant to log my efforts, because my kids should know that I'm trying. I'm not just a bum on a log, uh, um, which is disrespectful even that I said that. What I should say is a bump on the log. I am not trying to take advantage of any system. I am trying to overcome these bad things that happen to me that I can't get past until I have a way to get past them. Alright, so now I'm going to say itadakimasu.